for a number of different reasons. To be able to go to Houston against an opponent that we highly respected, that's been making a lot of noise around this league, from last year going into this year, to be down by the number of points we were down, to come back after halftime and see our team fight, be resilient, and always have the confidence. And this is something I spoke about to you guys last week. Have the confidence that we can win under any circumstances was outstanding. I give a lot of credit to the players on how they operated through that whole situation, and the trust and belief in what we were doing was shown throughout the game. There's a number of guys that stand out in that game, but the one guy that stood out more to me than anybody, and this is going to sound a little funny of me saying this, but is our quarterback. Man, for him to go through what he did and to be able to take this team under his wing and drive the ball and score the touchdowns that we needed, and make the critical plays that we needed to give us a chance to win that game was outstanding. He didn't blink. And that's the one thing that showed up more than anything is the leadership, the toughness, the ability to take a team on his back and go win a game was outstanding to see. So a lot of kudos to our quarterback. Other defensive players that stood out, Pascal had an outstanding game. He's steady growing in his role. And he did some really good things in the run and pass game. James Houston showed some promise in the things that he did. And I'm talking about the role players that we expect to come out and do some things. And he's going to continue to improve. And that was good to see him, not just in a pass rush perspective, but the way that he played the run also was really good. So, listen, we're on to another opponent that has a ton of talent on both sides of the ball. And we have a lot of respect for them because we know what they can do. And when you just look at the players that they have, and the way you watch the Philly game, the way they were down 22-0, then boom, they got 16 points, right then to come back, shows what they have. And I'm talking offensively now. They can get themselves back in the game. So, man, we're grinding through what they do on tape. And this is going to be a big week for us as a defense to make sure we're on top of our game plan, to make sure we go out there and do the things we need to do.
I want to ask each coordinator this today because you kind of rolled past the halfway point of the season here. What's the area you're most proud of your defense with the way they've handled themselves the first half? And then what's the area where you feel like your group really needs to tighten up here for the stretch run?
Listen, our guys have done a good job of understanding the game plan from an overall perspective of, and this is how we want to defend the run. This is how we want to defend the pass. And then taking a lot of things or stats that we really don't care about and understand what we do care about. So, for example, our DBs, they hate the fact that I think it's like 240 yards. But when you look at the things behind that, what's the completion percentage? What's the quarterback rating? Those are the things that are most important, and they've grown in understanding that. And then things that we have to tighten up of, I want to get like right back to where we were when it comes to our run defense. And we started that against Houston, which was really good to see. Listen, our corners are doing a hell of a job understanding what their role is in this defense, and they're going to continue to do that. And listen, they have a ways to go when it comes to the improvement factor in that. And I'm looking forward to that. Same with our two young safeties. But just overall, to answer your question, just to solidify the run defense a lot better than what we've done early in the season. Not saying that we've done a bad job, but I expect a lot more from us.
Za'Darius in the mix, and what do you think he can provide you on Sunday?
Listen, he's a vet. Looking forward to getting him out there. Have a number of things we want to do with him. But man, just going through the walkthrough with him, you can tell that you can tell how excited he is to be a part of this organization. And listen, we're throwing some things at him, and he's not going to pick everything up right away. But there are some situations that we want to make sure that he's on the field to utilize his ability to rush the passer and his ability to play the run. So in our mind, we have some things for him. We're not going to try to overload him, but we're going to push as much on him as we can to get him out there to go play for us.
And the contributions he has made since Aiden has gone down.
Well, listen, it doesn't surprise me at all. I expect those things from him. And for a defensive lineman, sometimes they don't get the credit they deserve for doing the dirty work. And he's been doing that for a while. And I would say that's the reason why Jack Campbell has improved with him and DJ Reader, because a lot of those guys, a lot of those times, they're not getting blocked by anybody because of what those guys do. And within our defense, especially when we play in a light box, we expect our D linemen to take two so our linebackers can run. And those guys are two of the best in the league at doing that. And then his ability to rush the passer is starting to show up a little bit. He's always had that ability because of his talent. But you could tell right now that part of his game is really starting to get an uptick. And the tools in his toolbox, he's starting to utilize those a lot more.
Sunday night, you look over and you see Za'Darius coaching up the young guys.
What are my thoughts on that? That's who he is. So this team, we want guys to be themselves. We're as authentic as can be. And that's who he's always been. Just talking to people that's been around him. Highly energetic, loves the game, and loves to make sure he imparts what he knows to the younger guys. And you really saw that with Pascal for the most part. And I tell you what, you can see Pascal using some of his tricks to go out there and be successful. Listen, this shows why Pascal had a really good game too. And the thing is, he's still a growing player too. So it's good to have that player with us. There you are. What are you doing back there?
Daughter forgot to practice jersey. What is the seatbelt game?
The seatbelt? Oh, man, this is an old shirt. I think Jerry gave me this shirt back in the day. And listen, you guys might know, I'm not really a clothes guy. So, listen, my wife and daughter does a good job of really picking out my attire. And if it's there, folded up on the chair, I'm putting it on. So it was there, and I put it on. But yeah, I think Jerry gave me this a while ago.
I guess I want to ask you on that. Was the James Houston? Has he turned a corner to be like a contributor for you now? Like you've seen some things out of him the last couple of weeks that maybe he can keep.
Listen, I don't want to say turn the corner, all right, but I will say that you saw the improvement, and I think he got the message of what the expectations of him needs to be, and that has to be on a week-to-week basis. And again, like I said, the pass rush, I know that was going to be there. Man, the way he played the run in this game, like that's what I was excited about for that player, because now it's just going to give him the confidence to go out and do all the things that we know he can do at a better rate.
Pascal, do you feel like the increased workload that he's gotten in the wake of the injuries has accelerated his development in any way?
Well, listen, I think we all know that it seemed like every year he had this injury that kind of set him back from really developing. And listen, I think with the addition of Davenport, I think with the addition of Z, I always thought with Aiden, like helped him become the player that he is, because what he's done is he's started to understand, like, this is who I am. I'm not Aiden. I'm not Davenport. I'm Pascal, and here's where my strong points are. And that's a beautiful thing to see when a player starts to recognize, like, here's who I am and here's what I'm good at, and I'm going to do that the best I can be. I'm continuing to learn the other things that I want to continue to improve on. He's starting to do that.
Eric was
When you were a player,
Yeah.
you were surrounded by some of the greatest coaches ever.
Yeah.
What have you taken from them that has impacted your leadership style, as well as maybe some of the underlying concepts that are part of your defense?
I think the number one thing is be yourself. And I think that's one thing I learned as a player from a coach is, like, don't try to be somebody else. Be yourself, well, whoever that may be, because players know a fake when they see one. And when you try to fake your way through this business, you'll get yourself put out of this business really quick, because then the respect factor is gone. And when it comes to leadership to me comes down to one word, and that's influence. Like, how are you influence the players? How are you influence the coaches that are around you? Leadership is not me sitting up in front of the players giving this rah-rah speech. They've heard that before. It's how I'm influencing those guys. So those are the things that I take.
Line from like some of those defenses to now? Or is it just so different?
Defense as far as what I've been a part of?
Or the underlying strategies?
Schematically? Oh, absolutely. I was with Rex Ryan when I was with the Jets there as a scout. And then going to Cleveland, Mike Pettin was on the Rex Ryan tree. So there's a lot of things that I do, especially on third down, that comes from the Rex Ryan tree. And then being in New Orleans for the 6 years I was there, there's a number of concepts that we use there. And a lot of that comes from Dennis Allen, Greg Williams, that tree right there. So, and I've just put those things together and try to build my own.
This is more of a global question.
Yep.
I'm just wondering, as you sit here today, how do you feel like you're a better defensive coordinator than you were in 2021?
And that was a question that was asked last week, if I can recall. And being able to understand offensive coordinators has helped me a ton. And I spent a lot of time throughout the years, since 2021, going to visit offensive coordinators and just talking to them on how they see the game and how they prepare for a game. And that has opened my eyes on how I should prepare for a game. And the other thing is, I'm always eager to learn. And there's a number of college coaches that I've went and visited from a defensive perspective, just to understand their thought process of the game. And listen, there are some concepts that they have that I would never use, but it's good to sit there and listen to them and get the why behind why they use them. Because at some point, hell, I might use it, So there's a lot of information that I've gathered throughout the years to help me be not just a better defense coordinator, but a better coach. And that can be understanding offense, special teams across the board.
Roderick Martin.
Yeah.
It seemed like the consistency was picking up there toward the end of camp.
Yeah.
It's a pretty long layoff. You got another week to kind of decide what to do with him. But in the 2 weeks you've seen him in practice, how has he kind of maybe picked up from where he left off there at the end of camp?
Listen, that's a tough situation for any player, especially at that position because of the physical nature of that position. Listen, he's a big man. He's a big man with long arms, something we require here to play that position. But being able to go through the physical task of doing those things on a day-to-day basis is something that he's got to get back to. And I would never put a guy out there that hasn't had a chance to practice and feel that. It was the same situation with DJ Reader coming off his injury. That there were times we just had to get him out there against some of those bigger guys that we have and just make him feel like, what is it going to feel like taking on double teams? What is it going to feel like getting that bump block and being able to recapture your gap? So those are things that we have to see with him as he goes through this process. But listen, we all know what type of player he is, and we knew where he had to improve to be a part of what we're trying to do. And we hate the fact that it happened because we did think he was improving. So that clock has to start right back over with him, and it starts with him going out there and practice.